What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Brothers of Deconstruction here, and I'm bringing you my analysis video for Avengers Endgame, the trailer that is. So, really quickly, just to start off, this isn't an Easter egg video. This is going to be me pointing out those Easter egg tie-ins with the comics. This is an analysis video and theory video on what I think we can expect to see in the movie based on what's in this trailer. Now, with Marvel's history of lying to us in the trailer, that may or may not be a good idea. Another thing I want to say really quickly is I haven't watched any other theory videos or reaction videos or Easter egg videos because I didn't want to kind of taint my own theories that I had, and I didn't want to take somebody's theory and then try to pawn it off as my own. So that's just something that I wanted to say as well. But let's get into it. I got my laptop with me so I can kind of go over what we're going to be going through in the trailer. So the trailer starts out with a look at the Iron Man helmet. I'm pretty sure Tony didn't have a helmet when Thanos almost killed him in Infinity War. I'm guessing that he probably used the nanomachines at some point to kind of form most of the helmet so he can record, this message that he's sending, that he hopes Pepper to find. The trailer opens up with that, him recording a message to her. Now, there are a couple of questions that I raised right off the bat. One, he's on the Benatar, the ship, the Guardian ship from Infinity War. He's stranded in space on the ship. How did he get there? Obviously, him and Nebula were the last two people on Titan after the decimation, which is the official name of, the people dying in the snap. Why is he drifting off in space alone? He tells Pepper in a message,
"Food and water ran out 4 days ago. Oxygen will run out tomorrow morning."
So what happened to leave him in this predicament? Also, when in the movie does this take place? Does it take place after him and Nebula go try to head back toward Earth after leaving Titan? Or, one joke that I threw out on Twitter was that Tony dies, in that moment. Like, he dies on that ship. And any Tony that we're going to get in the movie is going to be some alternate universe version of him, which I think would kind of be really funny. Yeah, how did he get in that predicament? Where is he at? What part of the movie does this take place? One thing that I did see on Twitter after the trailer dropped, like immediately after, one person said, "Hey, I wonder if he runs into Captain Marvel and that's who saves him from the ship." That's one theory that I've actually seen a couple of article headlines about already. But that's assuming that he survives this to begin with. So that's why I threw out that little joke. No, Tony probably dies. He even says in the start of the message, he's stranded, drifting off in space with no hope of getting rescued or found. Moving on, we see the armor scarecrow from Thanos' farm from Infinity War. So we see Farmer Thanos. And then we kind of see him limping across this field. Now, one thing that I noticed was a change in his outfit. It kind of looks like he's wearing jeans, but I mean, it's Thanos and he's an alien, so they probably don't have jeans, so they're probably just regular pants. But it also looks like he's wearing a white shirt as well. So we could be seeing something similar to his farmer look after the end of the Infinity Gauntlet storyline in the comics. We also noticed that he's limping. I mean, he limped to the back of the house or hut or whatever it is that he's in at the end of Infinity War when he sat down and he was smiling over the landscape. And in Infinity War, you can actually see the armor scarecrow as well. So that's a kind of a cool nod. So he has his armor hanging up. He's limping around the field, and the Infinity Gauntlet is fused to his hand. That's very important because we saw how damaged this was after he snapped half of the population of everything away. And then he teleported to said farm. So how much power does he actually have it with the gauntlet still? Like, how much power do the gems still have? How damn is the gauntlet going to be able to get taken off of his hand, even though it's pretty damaged and he's still wearing it? We see the Avengers HQ from Infinity War and Civil War. There's a voiceover that starts with Black Widow. I believe she's talking to Scott Lang, and I'll double back later on and explain why. She starts explaining Thanos did it. He wiped out half of all living creatures. We get a shot of Steve kind of sitting what looks to be the park that him and Sam, maybe it could be the graveyard. Now that I think about it, could be the graveyard that him and Sam kind of met Nick Fury at in Winter Soldier. But Steve is crying. It shows a shot of him crying, and it makes sense. He's lost everything. He lost Bucky twice. He lost Peggy in Civil War. Hell, he even lost Sam, who was basically his modern day best friend. He doesn't have anything anymore. He literally has nothing left from the life that he used to have back in the 40s. So it's very understandable that this is hitting him hard. Following that, we get a shot of Bruce Banner kind of looking at holographic screens of the people, of the heroes who are missing in action. Scott Lang is front and center. But one interesting thing that I pointed out on Twitter after a couple of viewings of the trailer was that Shuri popped up right before Peter Parker popped up. So you see Scott Lang, and then if you're not really looking, scanning the screen all that much, next thing you know, you see Peter Parker's face pop up in the corner. Now, granted, your eyes are going to dart over toward that part of the screen because Shuri is black, Peter Parker is white. Her picture kind of blends in with the background versus Peter Parker just popping up. While I was scanning the room watching the trailer, I noticed that it says Shuri is missing. One interesting thing about this is that the Russos said that she was safe from the decimation. So why is she missing? Why is she presumed missing? There were a lot of Wakandans that were still alive after the snap. So where is she? Peter is listed as missing as well, but the audience knows that he's dead. The audience also knows that Scott Lang is still alive because in the stinger for Ant-Man and the Wasp, it was shown that he was stuck in the quantum realm, which I'll get back to later. We then see Thor kind of sitting around HQ looking upset, probably realizing that she should have gone for the head. Moving on. Nebula pops up. She's on the ship. She's on the Benatar. And then we see her hand touch a shoulder. I think that's Nebula touching Tony's shoulder. They're probably having some type of dialogue. And just from regular interaction that I've had with people and watching movies in general, the way that her hand touches his shoulder, if it is indeed Tony, it's kind of like that goodbye touch. Like you kind of slightly touch somebody's shoulder, letting them know, hey, I'm leaving. So that goes back to my original question. What happened? Why does Nebula leave Tony on that ship? Is the ship attacked and she dies in it? Like, what's going on? So again, that's something really, really interesting to kind of think about. The next thing that we see is Ronan, not the accuser, Clint Barton's Ronan. We see this hooded figure wiping off his sword, and Black Widow is in the rain. This is in Japan or somewhere in Asia. It's raining. She has an umbrella. She's approached this guy. She has a worried look on her face, which she should, because we find out it's Hawkeye. He looks miserable, which would make sense because this is a theory that I've had. His family dies. Once we found out that Jeremy Renner was walking around set in the Ronin costume, I was like, oh, his family dies. That's why he's running around as Ronin now. He's like full on like hardcore vigilante now. And I think it's very, very poignant that at that point in the voiceover, which is switched over to Steve talking, Steve says, we lost a part of ourselves. I think there was a reason that they kind of overlaid that part of Steve's speech or monologue, and then we see Clint pull off his mask and turn around and he's looking pretty miserable. Now after that, Widow and Steve are talking and she says, this is gonna work, Steve. He says,
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't.
and that right there, people, is a man grasping at straws, looking for anything to change everything back. That is a man on the ledge with no options left, trying to find a solution to make everything normal again. And I think that's going to play a really, really big part in whatever plan they come up with in the movie. Now, after that, We get the title card, Avengers Endgame, which hilariously enough, the Russo said wasn't the name of the film, but it's also funny because Kevin Feige said that the name there shouldn't be this much hype over the name because it's not going to live up to it. He was right, but they kind of did that to themselves. But I also understand why they didn't reveal it because one, they wanted to focus on Infinity War, and two, it was kind of a spoiler to what's going on. This is very much the end of everything. This is the end game. This is the ending of this part or this section, these stories of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. We're done after this. Like nothing is going to be the same. So I get why they kind of said that it was a spoiler for the movie, kind of a spoiler for the movie as well. But going back after the title card, we hear Scott Lang's voice. So we know that he's not missing. And if you've watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, you knew that Scott Lang wasn't missing. And he says, "Hey, I'm Scott Lang. Remember me from a few years ago." I have this theory that about 5 years goes by after the snap. I don't really have all that much evidence to support that. The set photos that we saw of Tony, he was looking a little bit more aged. They aged him up with makeup. I think that, a few years go by, something happens. Maybe Scott is the catalyst. He finally finds a way to get out of the quantum realm. He starts looking for people like, what the hell is going on? With that, with the set photos and the fact that Scott says,
"This is Scott Lang. We met a few years ago at the airport."
I can't remember when Civil War takes place in the official timeline or when Infinity War or Endgame takes place, but it's safe to say that when most people say a couple of years, they mean 2 or 3. When people say a few, it's 4, 5, 6, something like that. I'm just betting on 5 years having gone by because, again, of Robert Downey Jr. being aged up in the movie. 5 years isn't so long where he should look way older, but it's not that soon either. Where it's like, okay, yeah, a few years have gone by. He's looking a little bit older, but not too older. It kind of ties in with a couple of other things, like with Hawkeye as Ronin. How much time has he had to go get the Yakuza tattoos that Jeremy Renner was seen on set with? Obviously, they're fake, but still. How long has gone by that he's, taking up this mantle and he's doing, whatever he's doing, going around killing people, doing whatever, being a part of, this international gang after the snap. Like that can happen within 6 months or that can happen within a few years. And we don't know what's going on with him really, but again, these are just theories. I'm just guessing. This is taking shots in the dark. So another thing is, it kind of relates to my time theory. Cap jumps up kind of shocked, like, is this an old message? How much time has gone past when they think Scott, who's been missing for however long, pops up at the front door and they think it's an old message? A lot of time, if somebody, it could be a year for all we know. A year is a long time for somebody to be missing and just to randomly pop up, or for them, for this situation to kind of happen. If I had a relative or a friend that was missing for a year, and all of it, I might be watching old videos, around the house or something like that. And if, they come up and ring the doorbell and it pops up on the TV, I'm gonna be wondering if this is an old video that I'm just now coming across. So that can happen within a year.
Is anyone home? This is Scott Lang. We met a few years ago at the airport in Germany. Got really big.
Is this an old message?
Ant-Man, I know you know that.
It's the front door.
And, it's funny because everybody is freaking out like, wait, Scott Lang isn't missing. Like, this isn't an old message or anything like that. And he's just like, hey, guys, remember me? Yeah, can you let me in? So, another thing that I wanted to point out as well, Scott has the van from the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp, where Hope and Hank and Janet kind of miniaturized that quantum tunnel and they put it in the back of the van. He has that same van, so that's gonna play a part in him getting out of the quantum realm, We just got to see how. I just wanted to sit down and make this video and get it out there. So you guys would have it and you can kind of formulate your own theories after watching it or what have you. But yeah, I think it's hilarious that, he's just like, hey guys, please let me in. So, yeah, I'm really, look, this is going to be the only trailer that I watch for the movie. I don't want to know anything going into the movie. I have enough information about the tone and what I can expect. It looks like it's going to be dark. Again, I love it. It looks like it's going to be really, really intriguing because people are popping up that are presumed missing. I'm looking forward to it. And they moved the date up again. It was originally scheduled to come out on my birthday next year, but it's coming out probably a week beforehand again in April. So I can't wait. Check out some of the other videos, guys, and I hope you like this one. Talk to you later, guys.